Vince.
Oh yes, a lifelong promise. It is a program where we talk to you, the pensioner. We also talk to you, the employer. Chaplain Ngube is my name, welcoming you again to this episode where today we are talking about occupational safety and health. And to help us through today's program is Dr. Betty Nyereyegona, who is a Deputy Director, Occupational Safety and Health, responsible for medical services at NASA. Dr. Betty Nyereyegona, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
We also joined in the studio by Tembegile Dumbu, onguyeke osebenza ke njengo Occupational Safety and Health Promotions Officer. Sakwamukela kulolu hlelo njalo ke sikhuluma ke lalabo ke abaku pension.
Ngiyabonga.
Well, viewers, let's kickstart our episode and would like to know, Dr. Nyereyegona, what occupational diseases are.
Thank you very much, JB. Occupational diseases are conditions which emanate from conditions within the workplace. It can be the physical situation that is in the workplace, what people are exposed to, be it noise, dust, heat and other things. It also occurs when people are exposed to different chemicals within the workplace, which then causes diseases. And there are a wide range of different diseases that come from the workplace. Unfortunately, with diseases, they are not commonly reported like we would report things like injuries. Injuries, people see blood, they react. But with diseases, it's something that we really need to discuss so people will know about them, know how to identify them, and then report them accordingly.
Well, viewers, we are outlining diseases that are associated with our occupations. Zvinoda kuti zvingochinzwisisika kuti kana tutaura nezvezvirwere zvinobata vanhu vari kumabasa ndezvipi zvacho zvatutaura nezvazvo Tembi?
Zvirwere zvatotaura nezvazvo zvirwere zvinokwanisa kuwanikwa munhu ari pabasa zvichienderana nemashandiro anenge achiita panzvimbo yaanenge achishandira uyezve zvichikonzerwa nemashandiro anenge achiita nezvaanenge achisangana nazvo mukati mekushanda kwaanenge achiita. Totarisa zvinhu zvakafanana noise inenge iripo munzvimbo yaanoshandira. Umwe anogona kunge achishandira munzvimbo inenge ine dust rinenge riripo. Izvozvo zvinozopedzisira zvakuita kuti munhu anga achizova nezvirwere zvinobva panzvimbo yaanenge achishandira.
Akunjalo bazafuna ukuthi labo babezwisisa ke ababukeli ke ngekhaya njana sikhuluma labo namhlanje sibachasisela ngeminye ke yemkhuhlane etholakalayo ukusiya ke ngemisebenzi. Ungasichasisela kabanzi ukuba nxa sikhuluma ke ngemkhuhlane etholakala emsebenzini yipi yakho esikhuluma ngayo?
Ngiyabonga. Nxa sikhuluma ngemkhuhlane etholakala emsebenzini sikhuluma ngemkhuhlane yokuthi umuntu lapha endaweni asebenzela yona kukhona izinto abe ehlangana lazo mayelana nokusebenza abe kwenza khonokho ugcina sokusenza ubana umuntu agcine esibamba imikhuhlane echiyeneyo kuhambelana lokuthi usebenzela kuyiphi indawo. Kuyafana lokuthi umuntu uyakwanisa ube esebenzela endaweni eyabile dust elinengi, endaweni eyabile noise eyabikhona phakathi kwendawo nalo. So angayala lokho esebenza kule indalo ugcina esebanjwa imikhuhlane echiyeneyo.
Well, viewers, if you're just joining us, we're talking about occupational safety and health on this lifelong promise. Coming to you, Dr. Betty Nyereyegona, what are the commonest occupational diseases in Zimbabwe?
Thank you very much, JB. In Zimbabwe, we have seen a few cases of occupational safety and occupational diseases being reported to NASA. As you know, NASA is the organ of government which is responsible for looking after workers in the workplace, where workers are supposed to be safe. But we are also responsible for compensating workers who get injured in the workplace. So what has been happening is that we receive reports of different diseases, different injuries which are occurring in the workplace. But what we have noticed, and it is something that is noticed worldwide, not too many people are reporting occupational diseases, which are different from injuries. What we have seen as the commonest reported diseases, we have things like noise-induced hearing loss, where people exposed to noise then lose their ability to hear. We also have a deliberate act within Zimbabwe, which is called the Pneumoconiosis Act. The Pneumoconiosis Act mandates companies to look after workers who are exposed to dust, and they test their chests. There is a disease called pneumoconiosis, which is caused by exposure to dust, and that's one of the few diseases which are being reported. We have seen also skin diseases which are being reported, as well as the most common, I would say, would be backaches. So when we're looking at these diseases, we can classify them into different diseases depending on exposure that people have within the workplace, or the organs which are being affected. So we have chest issues which can happen. We have skin, which is very common. We have eye problems which can occur. We can even get to the extent that people get very serious illnesses like cancers from the exposures that they get within the workplace, especially when they are exposed to dangerous chemicals and other things that occur in the workplace. For instance, people who are exposed to things like lead would have quite serious diseases which can even affect their brain. So there is a wide range of diseases which are there, which occur in the workplace, and it's because of the environment that people are being exposed to within the workplaces.
Probably as a follow-up, considering the reduction in the report of cases pertaining these diseases, whose responsibility is to make these reports so that those who suffer from these conditions which emulate or which come through their work related causes could be helped?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question. So like I said initially, when a person gets injured, when you get your finger cut, you see blood. Right. But with diseases, they are insidious. They come slowly, and at times we do not notice them. And there is also the problem that people do not have that high index of suspicion to say, is this disease coming from the workplace? So it is a responsibility of everyone to know and start thinking at the back of their minds that they are occupational diseases. So it stems from the employer themselves, the worker, the treating people who are the doctors and nurses in our hospitals need to always think that they are occupational diseases. One example, for instance, is with the disease that I talked about, pneumoconiosis. There are people with pneumoconiosis who have been on treatment for TB 4 times, but because nobody asked, where did you work? So it is important for people to keep thinking about these occupational diseases, because the numbers that we have are definitely an underreporting, which we are seeing, and this is not unique to Zimbabwe. It is worldwide. It's one of the things that we really need to worry about.
Well, there you are, viewers. Chijana chako iwewe semshandi kana kuti semshandirwe kuti kwanisa kuti ungochiziva nekunzwisisa zvirwere zvatutarane zvazvo izvozvizvi. Tembi nxa sesikhuluma thina-ke lapha-ke kuzwekazi lethu-ke leZimbabwe, yiphi-ke imkhuhlane evamileyo kulabo-ke abasebenzayo?
Ngiyabonga mnumzana JB. Minengi imkhuhlane esihlangana layo endaweni lapha kusebenzela khona abantu, kusiya ngokuthi umuntu usebenzela endaweni iphi. Ngoba imkhuhlane nalo itholakala ngoba umuntu yabe exposed endaweni ezitshiyeneyo abesebenza ngazo. So okuqale ngafuna ukukhuluma ngawo, ngakhuluma ngalabo abasebenzela endaweni lapho kuyabe kule dust eningi. Kuyachiyana ngokuthi dust yangikhona iyabisuka ngaphi. Kuyafana lokuthi abantu abasebenza kumbe kuma mines kule dust eliningi elisuka khona lapha, abanye bayabesebenzisa ikho, abanye bayabesebenzisa even bayabe bamba i-asbestos dust. So kuyachiyana ngokuthi i-dust liphi. So lizabona ukuthi kule mkhuhlane eminingi esuka ekubeni ukuthi umuntu be exposed udust langikhona nale esingathi ngesingisi pneumoconiosis. So iyachiyana ukuthi li dust yiphi umuntu abe exposed kuyo. Njalo zabona ukuthi kulezinye indleko zethu empilweni ezikwanisayo futhi ukuthi zi-affect imkhuhlane nale eyabichini. Singakhangela even abantu abasebenzela endaweni lapho kulama chemicals amaningi. Kusiya ngokuthi ngama chemicals apha ngikhona. Umuntu uyakwanisa ukugula kusukela ngokuthi yena ube exposed kuma chemicals ona achiyeneyo. Amanye angikhona kusiya ngokuthi umuntu yabe exposed ku chemical yiphi, abanye bagcina sebebanjwa even i-cancer. So silawa ama cases abantu ababuya be report bekhuluma ukuthi mina sengigula ngalokhu lalokhu, sibe sokukhangelwa sokubonakala ukuthi umuntu lo ubesebenzela endaweni yabile dust. Njalo bakhona futhi abantu abasebenza endaweni lapho kabe kule noise. Nxa sikhangela lapho kusebenzela khona abantu abachiyeneyo, kulabanye abasebenzisa imishini echiyeneyo, eminye yangikhona yabi ilokhuza ikhipha noise enengi, umsindo omnengi ngimtshina yona leyo. So zabona ukuthi abanye abantu bagcina sebephambaniseka indlebe basezwa kuhle ngendaba yokuba naba exposed ku noise zona leyo. So ngeminye yemikhuhlane etholakala emsebenzini esingakhuluma ngayo.
Regai ati yende kumbono nwira mvura tichidzoka tudzoka navo occupational safety and health promotions officer vedu atembegile Dumbo vachititsanangurira zvakare kuti ko izvo zvirwere zvati wandei muno munyika yedu yeZimbabwe zvine chekuita nemabasa izvi ndezvipi? Musaende kure. Welcome back. For those who are just joining us, we are talking about occupational safety and health on this lovely program, A Lifelong Promise, brought to you by NASA. And in the studio, I'm with Dr. Betty Nyereyegona, who is Deputy Director, Occupational Safety and Health, responsible for medical services, together with Tembegile Dumbo, who is the Occupational Safety and Health Promotions Officer. Tisati taenda kunonwira mvura, tengetiri kurukura na Tembegile Dumbo, achititsanangurira zvirwere zvemumabasa zvati wandei munyika yedu yeZimbabwe kuti ndezvipi?
Maita basa mukoma JB, zviripo zvirwere zvinowanikwa mumabasa zvichienderana nekuti tinoshanda sei mumabasa atinoshanda, uyezve kuti zvii zvinowanika munzvimbo iyo yatinoshandira. Ndichada kutanga nevanhu vanoshandira munzvimbo inenge ine dust. Zviripo zvirwere zvinoenderana nemashandiro evanhu vanenge vari mumadust atinoti pneumoconiosis diseases. Izvo zvirwere zvinokwanisa kuwanikwa nevashandi zvichienda noti idust ripi raanenge achishanda ari mariri. Saka zvinenge zviripo zvirwere izvozvo noti munhu anenge achishanda achirifema dasti irororo, ende kazhinji anenge arifema kwenguva yakati rebei opedzera akurwara nenyaya yedasti irororo. Tikatarisa zvakare kune vamwe vanoshanda munzvimbo dzinenge dzine noise yakati wandei. Noise iyoyo inopedzera yakuita kuti munhu atadze kunzwa zvakanaka, umwe anopedzera asingachanzwi. Saka izvozvo ndezvimwe zvirwere zvinouya zvichiripotwa kuti munhu achakwanisi kunzwa nenyaya yekuti munzvimbo yaishandira muine noise yakati wandei. Vamwe vanoshanda zvakare munzvimbo inenge ine atingati mishonga chemicals anenge arimo munzvimbo imomo. Izvozvo zvakare zvinokanganisa utano hwemunhu nemashandiro anenge achiita, zvinokwanisa kukanganisa even kukuvadza ganda rake rinokwanisa kukanganisika nemachemicals iyayo anenge achishandisa munzvimbo iyoyo yaanenge ari. Tikatarisa zvakare even mashandiro maitiro atinoita basa redu zvakare anowinza zvimwe zvirwere zvakati siyanei atinoti pachirungu economic issues. Saka izvozvo zvinoita kuti munhu anopedzisira umwe akukomplaina nekuti ari kurwadzwa nemusana kana kuti zvimwe zvinogona anga affectika. Saka ndo zvimwe zvezvirwere zvinowanikwa zvichienderana nekuti unoshandira panzvimbo ipi.
We are talking about those diseases which are accompanied by our professions, our work surroundings, where we end up suffering from diseases that would not think they are serious, but at the end of the day, they affect our well-being. Dr. Betty Nyereyegona, well, before we talk about occupational diseases identification, let's talk about stress-induced conditions as well.
Thank you very much. Stress is, or what we call psychosocial issues affect the workplace. And I think COVID-19 brought in one very important lesson in that almost all of us are very vulnerable when it comes to issues related to stress. This is one area which also is part of the occupational diseases that we have, and it's one area that each and every workplace needs to be looking into. Pressures come within the workplace, which are associated with the design of the work itself. It might be pressures at work. It might be a balance between what you are doing at work and what you're doing at home. And we're still issues to do with finances. So stress has become one of the biggest hazards and risks which are being encountered in workplaces. And each and every workplace should have a system on how to deal with issues related to stress. And we have seen that people take it for granted, but the effects of it can be very huge and catastrophic, both to the individual worker as well as to the company. Issues of productivity, people present in different ways when they are being affected to stress. So it is one of the areas that as NASA we would want each and every workplace to be looking into, to have deliberate programs within the workplace to help and assist the employees to cope with mental health issues and issues related to stress. And it is one of the main topics internationally. Even the ILO has done a lot of work as well as guidelines which are related to dealing with stress within the workplace.
Well, that was in overview of stress conditions at work. Kodwa ke Thembi nxa lapha ke sikhangela ke kweminye ke imkhuhlane asikaqambi lapho kubana ke imkhuhlane le ibonakala njani, kodwa sike sixoxe kancinyane ngendaba ke stress lezi kubana ke zibuya njani njalo ke kungenzakala njani ukuthi abantu bebesizakala emsebenzini.
Ngiyabonga. I-stress singathi ngomunye umkhuhlane osuhluphile endaweni lapho kusebenzela khona abantu. Zinengi into ezingenza ukubana umuntu agcine esesiba le stress emsebenzini. Okunye kuhlanganisa even okwenzakala even ezindlini zethu. Kuba umuntu abe sebuya lakho engqondweni yakhe uye emsebenzini kubuye egcine sokumphambanisa. Singakhangela iminyaka ephelileyo even loba khathesi siyazi ukuthi kule ndaba ye COVID-19 ekhona ephambanisa abantu, amasebenzelo ethu setshintshile ngendaba yokuthi sile COVID-19. So khonokho kodwa nje kuyenza ukubana umuntu agcina sesiba le stress emsebenzini, agcina sesehluleka ukusebenza kuhle emsebenzini. And siyazi ukubana yona le stress okwenza ukubana thina njengenasa sibe sibambekile kakhulu ngendaba ye stress etholakala emsebenzini ukubana kunezinengi into ezingenziwa ukubana ezingaphambaniseka emsebenzini ngendaba yokuthi umuntu le stress. Singakhangela abanye abasebenzayo basebenzisa imitshini etshiyeneyo. So umuntu nxa ele stress khonokho kuyayenza ukubana ukuthi ama accidents akhwele emsebenzini lapho esebenzela khona. Njalo kuyenza ukubana ukuthi emsebenzini wethu singakwanisi ukusebenza okwaneleyo okwenza ukubana thina njengekampani sibe siphumelela siya phambili. So ngamanye ama problems onalawo abuya ngendaba yokubana i-stress isikhona emsebenzini. So sithi emsebenzini kasizameni ngazo zonke indlela esikwanisa ngazo ukubana senze ukubana i-stress iyehle emsebenzini.
Zvakakosha mudiwa mutariri kuti tinzwisise kuti mabasa uko kune zvimwe zvirwere zvatinosangana nazvo zvinova ndizvo zvatinoda kutinge tichipanana pano apa nechino chirongwa chechivimbiso cheupenyu hwese. Thembi, ndodzoka kwauri, ngatimbotsanangurirai vatariri nemapensioners nezvenhau yestress kuti yakamira sei uyezve kune avo vari kumabasa.
Stress ndeimwe yezvirwere zvanesa mukati memabasa atiri kushanda tiri. Asi kazhinji tinotadza kuzvipatsanura kuti iyi stress yekubasa iyi stress yekumba nokuti zvinhu zvacho zvinongodyidzana, kuti dzimwe nguva stress yabva kumba inogona kuya yokanganisa munhu mumashandiro anenge achiita. Zvakawanda zvinokonzera stress mumabasa atinoshandira. Tikatarisa haiko zvinezvi tatine COVID-19 mashandiro edu atovandudzika, atochinja. Zvataita kudhara hazvisizvo zvatakuita mazuva ano. Uye zvakare muchaona kuti ukama tiri kumabasa ikokoko kunoita zvakare kuti munhu apedzisire ane stress. Kana kuti nyaya dzemari tiri kuziva kuti mari haisi kukwana. Saka izvozvo zvakare zvinokonzeresa kuti mastress anga achiwanda munzvimbo dzatinoshandira. Saka tiri kukuridzana kuti even my employers ave nechekuita nenyaya dzokumanage stress mumabasa atinoshandira, nokuti tinoziva kuti stress kana iripo pabasa inoita kuti zvatinoda kuti tiachieve sekambani spesire tisakutadza kuzviita. Saka tinokuridzana kuti ngatirambe chibatsirana panyaya dzestress idzodzo kuti tione kuti vanhu vanoshanda zvakanaka vasina stress mumabasa avanoshandira.
There you are, viewers. Employers are equally responsible for making sure that their employees are well cared for and supported in times of having challenges where those challenges, if not addressed, will end up leading the employee rather to suffer from stress. Regai tinonwira mvura yikulani ke senatha manzi sizophenduka sisiqedisa ke uhlelo lethu ke sesikhangela kubana ke imkhuhlano nale ibonakala njani njalo ke kuyini esingakwenza ke ukuthi sibe siyenqabela lingayikhatshana. Well, viewers, it is a lifelong promise from NASA. Chibimbiso chaupenyu weseiche kupaka ku NASA chabulengube ndi Rosita kanusha muchibata tapinda muchikamu chakugumisira chirongwa cheduka apo nasono tutasane zvenyaya dze occupational safety and health. Nxa usada usikhuluma sesifika ke kumlindi yaqina akuhlandle lethu la namhlanje lapho sikhuluma khona ke occupational safety and health. We are talking about occupational safety and health for you, the employee. As you're at your workplace today, we are outlining diseases compound or diseases that you can find at your workplaces. Coming to you, Dr. Betty Nyereyegona. Let's talk to the employer. Let's talk to the employee right now on how these occupational diseases can be identified and how these occupational diseases can be prevented.
Thank you very much. When we talk about identification of occupational diseases, it depends on the risk profile and the hazards that we encounter within the workplace. So when you are in a workplace which has dust, you should know that you can expect diseases related to the chest. If you have noise within your workplace, you expect people to have things like noise-induced hearing loss. So when we talk about identification of these diseases, there is an important concept of surveillance, where we actively look for the diseases within our workers before they occur. So that in that way, we catch them early. So you'll find that each workplace should be in a position to identify all their hazards that they have within the workplace, look at things that can happen because of exposure to those hazards, after which we actively look for them. Stress, for instance, we can use simple questionnaires to find who's getting stress, who is at risk, and things like that. The same thing happens to our respiratory issues, the chest issues. You can do things like taking x-rays. As NASA, we are well positioned to help companies in building those systems which assist them in identification as well as management of the different diseases that they get. One program that we have within NASA, which is well established, is the one related to the pneumoconiosis, which I talked about, where we have workers getting x-rays taken when they are exposed to dust. And at NASA, we even have a mobile clinic which moves around the mines or the areas with dust for us to actively look for people who could actually have this pneumoconiosis, so that we catch it early or we catch it before it becomes a disease, and then we're able to assist the workers.
Yeah, viewers, we are talking about identification and prevention of these work-related diseases. Tembi akusichasisele ukubana ke singenza njani umbeni singabona njani ke limkhuhlane ukubana ke isikhona njalo ke singenza njani ukuthi sibe sisenqabela limkhuhlane nxa ithi ingasi ecathamela ke emsebenzini lapha.
Ngiyabonga mnumzana. Okuqhakathekile nxa sisemsebenzini okumele sikwenze ukuthi sinqabele imikhuhlane le etholakala emsebenzini ukuthi sibe kwazi ukuthi kuyini okwenza ukubana umuntu agule ngemikhuhlane naleyo esingathi ihazard, ukukhangela ama hazards atholakala emsebenzini wona lo. Ngoba singakhangela ama hazards afana le dust ade sikhuluma ngayo leyana, siyakwazi ukubana indawo nxa kule lapho senzela khona umuntu kule dust elabe likhona sabe sesikwazi ukuthi umuntu uyakwanisa ukugula ngedust lona lelo. So kuyabe kusincedisa ubana sibekwazi ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi kuyini okwenza ukubana abantu bagule emsebenzini, njengoba futhi singakhangela indaba ye-noise. Nxa kule noise emsebenzini sabe sesikwazi ukuthi umuntu uyakwanisa ukugula ngemikhuhlane ehambelana lokubana usebenza lapho okule noise khona. So esingathi sikwenza ukuthi senqabele imikhuhlane naleyo yokubana sibekwazi ukuthi ngomnyaka kule nhlelo ezifana lokuthi abantu bakwanisa ukwenza inhlelo zokuba ukwenza ama-medical examinations. Nxa umuntu esebenzela lapho kule dust kumele ayekhangelwa, ahambe kodokotela ayekhangelwa ukubana idust lona lela asebenzela kulo alimphambanisi yini empilweni yakhe. Even umuntu osebenza lapho kule noise njalo uyenelisa njalo ukuthi ahambe ayekhangelwa futhi ukuthi inoise lela asebenzela khona ayimphambanisi yini ukuzwa. So ngezinye izinto esikwanisa ukuthi sibe sizenze njalo kukhona ayisingathi ngamanye ama-measurements akwanisa ukuba esenzwa kuma-hazard wona layo esikhuluma ngawo ukuthi kuyakwanisa ukumezhwa ukubonakala ukubana idust ekhona endaweni lapho kusebenzela khona umuntu inengi kanganani, ukwenzela ukubana nxa kuyibana inengi kuyakwanisa ukuthi kube lama-programs angafakwa ukwenzela ukubana sehlise idust lona lela belikhona endaweni lapho kusebenzela khona umuntu.
Tiri kutsanangurwa pano mdu amterera kuti tingazive sei kuti pakambani pedu pava neurwere kana kuti vashandi vedu vakurwara vari pabasa uye tingaite sei kuti tinge tichidzivirira naitembe.
Chakakosha ndechikuti munhu ngaazive kuti nzvimbo yakanoshandira yakamira sei zvii zvinogona kukonzera kuti munhu arware ari munzvimbo iyoyo yaanenge ari. Saka muchaona kuti zvimwe zvatinogona kushandisa kuti kana toita iyoyo yatinoti hazard identification kuti mumwe nomumwe atarise zvinhu zvinogona kumurwarisa panzvimbo yaanoshanda. Kana achishandira munzvimbo ine noise tinotongoziva kuti gare munhu iye anopedzisira asingachanzwi zvakanaka. Kana achishandira munzvimbo inenge ine dust munhu anopedzisira zvakare akukanganisika mapapu ake, mafemero anenge achiita nenyaya yedhasi raanenge achishanda riri maari. Saka tinokurudzira kuti vashandirwi ngavave neurongwa mukati memakambani avo yekuti vanopota vachiendesa vashandi vavo pagore vanenge vachishandira munzvimbo dzakadaro kuti vange vachinotariswa zvichionekwa kuti havasi kukanganiswa here nenzvimbo yavanenge vachishandira mairi iyoyo. Uye zvakare tiri kuti zvatotora nezvazvo izvozvo zvayatiri kuti dust iroro noise iyoyo inowanika munzvimbo imwe inokwaniswa zvakare kuti iongororwe ionekwe kuti noise yakawanda sei munzvimbo iyoyo. Kana yakawandiswa poonekwa kuti zvoitwa sei kuti noise idzikiswe kuti wati munhu asaramba achikanganiswa nenoise iyoyo. Kana riri dust zvakare zvoonekwa kuti rakawanda sei rodzikiswa kuti wati munhu asaramba achikanganiswa nedust iro.
Well, viewers, we've come to the end of this week's program where we were talking about occupational safety and health and this lifelong promise which is brought to you by NASA. Chapula Ncube is my name. Till we meet again next week, it's a goodbye for now.
The National Social Security Authority wishes to advise its valued pensioners that the Life Certificate Renewal Exercise for 2022 will be running from 6 June 2022 to 31 August 2022. Chirongwa ichi chichaitwa pachitevedzwa mitemo yekudzivirira denda re-COVID-19. Nekudaro vanhu vachabatsirwa vari vashoma nevashoma kumahofisi eNASA akatekeshera nyika yose. Vari pamujikandikere weNASA vari kukurudzirwa kushandisa mahofisi eNASA ari pedyo navo. Labo abahola ipension bakhuthazwa ukuthi bazibuyele manqamu eNASA njalo baze lezithupha zabo kanye lomfuziselo waso kumbe ipasipoti esebenzayo. Labo abagula kakhulu labagogekileyo bazavakatshelwa yiNASA emzini yabo. NASA will also visit selected POSB, NBS and Zimpost during the pensioner paydays. Several local business centers and growth points will be visited by NASA on dates to be advised. Pensioners in the diaspora can download the Life Certificate on www.nasa.org.zw. Upon completion and certification, kindly email to NASA Life Certificates at nasa.org.zw. Failure to renew a life certificate by 31 August 2022 will result in suspension of benefit payout. For more information, visit any NASA office or our website www.nasa.org.zw. #NASA Heroes. NASA.